Good evening. Welcome to Take One Tech, your number one tech show. Of course, keeping you updated with all matters technology. Well, today we have an amazing show lined up for you. Grace Githaiga will be joined by a CEO of Apptivate Africa who will be talking to us about a digital lunch voucher called M-Kula. And also this particular innovation will be featuring it in our Innovators Club. So stick with us. We have so much more. But before that, we'll be keeping you up to date with tech news that has been happening around the world. You remember the hashtag we are using is Take One Tech. My name is Stephanie Ayieta. In today's question, we are asking you what's your take on reselling of electronic goods bought by scalpers through use of automated bots? Do you think this is market manipulation or it's fair business? Talk to us using the hashtag TakeOnTech at KBC Channel 1. We'll also be giving you details on this particular question in our story in the news roundup. We'll be giving you more details about the scalping business, how other scalpers in the UK have used technology to their advantage in the tough economic times during the pandemic to make a fortune out of this. That and also about technology companies that have suspended their services in Russia as a result of Putin's invasion of Ukraine. More details into this in our Tech News Roundup.
Sheraz, not his real name, interviewed by the BBC, gave a story of how scalping has helped keep a roof over his head, especially during the tough economic times brought about by the pandemic. Scalping is an unfavorable term for stockpiling popular products and reselling them at a higher price for profit. Many sought-after items are resold, including concert tickets, limited edition trainers, and game consoles. Sheraz says he only sells to his friends and family to make about £250 extra a month so that he can only eat away at a £50,000 medical bill. But for a majority of resellers, scalping is big business and they're using tech to give them an added advantage. A lot of electronics are in short supply because of a global shortage of semiconductor chips, which are essentially the brains of modern electronic products. The PlayStation 5, Sony's next-generation game console, has been particularly hard for many gamers to get hold of. Some shoppers relied on leaked information from big retailers to predict when new stock might become available. But even though staying up late to 3 a.m. excitedly refreshing our retailer's website would find the stock sold out in minutes, real shoppers were being beaten by bots. Software developed by the scalpers can notify them as soon as stock is available from any of their target websites. Sometimes the bots can even automatically buy items. The PS5 consoles were being snapped up by bots only to be resold for twice the regular retail price of £450. Using bots to buy products is not illegal in the UK but has drawn the attention of lawmakers. Douglas Chapman, Scottish National Party MP for Dunfermline and West Fife, is leading the charge against reselling. Russia breaks record of being the country to receive most sanctions in the world, passing North Korea and Iran. Russia's sanctions stand at 5,530 compared to that of Iran, which stands at 3,616. The continued invasion has made tech companies suspend their operations and services in the country either through sanction liabilities or self-sanctions. There's also the criticism that comes from international consumers over any tech company that's perceived to help Putin's regime. Volodymyr Zelensky, the current president of Ukraine, has called on American companies to suspend all businesses in Russia during a video call with US lawmakers. Some of the technology companies that have suspended service in Russia include HP and Intel, who have stopped exports to Russia. The former is the country's largest supplier of PCs. Nvidia and AMD. AMD stopped all chip shipments to Russia and Belarus as Nvidia also halted sales to the country. PayPal shut down its services in Russia, citing Russia's violent military aggression in Ukraine. However, they will support withdrawals for a period of time, ensuring that account balances are dispersed in line with applicable laws and regulations. Financial services, MasterCard, Visa, and American Express halted their operation, citing Russia's unprovoked invasion of Ukraine. Microsoft, Netflix, SAP, and Oracle, Samsung, Apple, TikTok, Google, and media companies including CNN and Bloomberg have temporarily suspended their operations in Russia.
That has been tech news. Now we move to tech of the week. Well, we see adverts every day on our mobile phones, on our TVs and radios, but these adverts are quite costly to the retailers, especially when the feedback received is not as positive. Therefore, the retailers have now turned to technology to ensure that these adverts are as successful as possible. Here's how.
Miss Carrie Colleen, who works in marketing, interviewed by BBC, says in 2007 she found herself working on an unusual project featuring a drumming gorilla. Her colleagues were convinced it would be a hit. However, initial market research had suggested that the ad would not do well with customers. After all, a drumming gorilla has nothing to do with chocolate. Miss Carey then went to a London-based high-tech ad testing company called System 1 for a second opinion. Its online-based system doesn't ask participants whether they like a particular advertisement. Instead, it asks at least 150 people to view the ad and record their emotional responses to it. The drumming gorilla got an extremely positive score. Miss Carey reported this back to Cadbury's bosses, and the ad was released to widespread acclaim. It takes a bold person to claim they are not influenced by advertisement. In today's digital world, it's coming to you all the time, and the amount of money companies spend on advertising their products and services has never been higher. To try to ensure adverts are as successful as possible, retailers are using high-tech ad testing firms more often. UK firm Kantar is another firm working on this analytics. Its online testing system also focuses on a person's emotional responses to being shown an advert. One way it does this is by connecting to a tester's laptop or webcam, then using facial mapping software to monitor their reactions. The system asks testers to reveal their emotional response to an advert as it is playing by clicking on the relevant small graphic of a human head on their screen. According to Miss Carey, who now works at System 1, they don't want to ask people what they are going to do, that is whether they will buy the product or not, because they know that's not going to be very predictive of how an advert is going to perform, because people go into their left brain and start thinking too much. Instead, she says, we want to measure what their natural feeling is, what their natural emotion is, what all those basic emotions are. We can get snapshots of which part of an ad are working or not, Miss Carey emphasizes. The ultimate aim is that clients get both accurate short and long-term sales predictions and additional metrics like finding out whether the brand of the company is recognizable and familiar to customers or not.
A popular quote goes by, "Food is the only way to a man's heart." Well, Apptivate Africa decided that feeding your employees is one way to attain organization success. So let's listen in on how exactly this plays out in the company setup. We have Grace Githaiga and the CEO of Apptivate Africa, Neil Ribeiro, for this.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for that introduction. My name is Grace Githaiga. Welcome to the interview section of Take on Tech. In today's program, we are hosting Neil Ribeiro. And Neil is the CEO of Apptivate. Apptivate is this organization that runs an app that is called M-Kula. And Neil is here to talk to us about M-Kula. Karibu sana to the program. We are happy to have you. Please start by explaining to us what is M-Kula.
Okay, thank you, Grace, and thank you for having me on the program today. I really appreciate that. M-Kula is a digital voucher, which an employer will give his or her employee, so that employee can go ahead and have a meal during the workday. So in very simplistic terms, if you think about it, it's just a virtual account which is loaded with money, which the employee can use at any one of our 600 locations to go and buy a meal every day whilst they're working.
When you talk about a digital voucher, please explain to us, just expound that to that worker who would want to know what this M-Kula is all about.
Okay. So I think the easiest way to explain what M-Kula is to think about it like an M-Pesa wallet, because I think everybody knows what M-Pesa is. But the wallet is being funded by the employer. So you don't put money into M-Kula, the employer puts in money for you. The other differences between M-Pesa and M-Kula is in M-Kula you cannot withdraw the money like you can in M-Pesa. And in M-Kula you cannot transfer money. So when that money is put into your M-Kula digital wallet, let's say, though it's not a wallet because you can't withdraw and do other things, that's why we call it a voucher. That money can only be used towards lunch, nothing else.
Okay. The employer has the QR code, and then it's the employer to provide the number of employees to
Each employee benefit. Has their own QR code.
Okay.
Each employee will be given their own QR code, and that's like your account number.
Okay.
Right? So every time you transact, you just present that QR code. It's like presenting a credit card. Every time you want to transact, you present your card. You just present the QR code, and it's scanned by with the phone by the merchant, and the transaction is approved.
And who keeps all this data?
So we keep all the data. We keep all the data in a very secure cloud facility. The data is backed up in real time on another server on the same rack. It's backed up again in real time on another server in a different location. And it's backed up again every day in Kenya.
And M-Kula factories in Nairobi, what's your spread?
So we have 312 companies who are using M-Kula. I don't have the number off the top of my head, but I'd estimate about 160 or to 180 of those companies are actually factories.
Okay, wow. In Nairobi?
Across the country.
Okay.
So we have customers in all the major tier 2 towns and the other cities, so Kisumu, Nakuru, Naivasha, Thika, in the Mount Kenya area, Nyeri, Embu, Meru, Nanyuki, Mombasa.
All right. Quite interesting, but Take on Tech takes a short break. And when we return, we'll continue with this conversation. It's very interesting. There are many questions that I have for you, and I know you'll respond in the next session. Okay. Take on Tech takes a short break. And today we are talking about M-Kula, which is a digital lunch voucher. Please continue following us on our social media handles, and that's at KBC Channel 1 across Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You're watching the interview section of Take on Tech, and today we are speaking about M-Kula, which is a digital lunch voucher, mobile cooler Mobile Eat. And we have in the studio Neil Ribeiro, the CEO of Apptivate that runs that app. Now, before we went on a break, you were telling us you're spread in the country, that you're found in different, not just in Nairobi, but even in other counties, which is interesting. Now, tell me, what really, what impact, especially because you're even working with factory workers, what would you say your impact has been?
So I think we impact 3 different segments of people. The biggest impact on the factory level is probably to the factory worker by ensuring that he or she gets a nutritious meal every day. This keeps the employee motivated. This keeps the employee healthy. Okay? This keeps the employee productive. The second impact is made to the people who are providing the meals. So if a kibanda knows that every day I'm going to have 50 people coming from this factory to eat here, they know that every day they will have 50 times, let's say, 100 shillings, right? 5,000 shillings in revenue coming in, that's pretty much guaranteed. Okay? That one gives them more revenue. But what we found also that it actually is creating employment. Because this person now knows that I'll have these many people and therefore I need to employ these many people to come and work there. So it's also providing employment at the informal sector. So in essence, what we end up becoming is the marketing company for that kibanda, right? Because we're driving the business to the kibanda. And the third one is where we're impacting the organization who's using us. So studies have shown both in Kenya and globally that when you feed an employee is more motivated. An employee on average stays with you 2 times longer. An employee in Kenya is anywhere from 20 to 30% more productive when he or she is fed. And even in places where, forget the factory, but in places like in the office setting, like for example in law firms, one law firm told us that when they started feeding, they're actually able to get better quality of work out of the team in the law firm, and also that the employees are more willing to stay back late if they need to in order to go ahead and get work done, because there is this let me say affinity towards the company because the company is providing a meal.
So we are about to close the interview section, Neil. So I'll give you this chance to actually give us some closing remarks, something important that you think needs to go out there, say, to employers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Employees are not an asset that we put on the balance sheet in any country. And in Kenya, HR, for most companies, based on what I've seen in interacting with thousands of companies in Kenya, is not taken as a strategic role. But at the same time, we go ahead and say that our employees are important to us. What employees need to go ahead and realize is that your organization cannot operate without the employee. Your organization is not going to operate at its peak without a peak performing employee. Don't take it from me. Go onto Google and check. Study after study shows that food really does motivate an employee. Whether the employee is earning 15,000 shillings a month or 1.5 million shillings a year, food still motivates every human being. So at every level, employers should think about using food as a daily motivator to keep the employees motivated. Okay.
Okay, wow. A nice way to end the interview section. Thank you so much for gracing Take on Tech. That's it from the interview section of Take on Tech. Today we were discussing an app, M-Kula, which is a digital lunch voucher that is given by employers to its employees so that employees can have lunch at designated restaurants and vibandas. Please continue following us on our social media handles, and that's at KBC Channel 1 across all our social media handles. My name is Githaiga. keep watching.
That has been the interview segment. Well, now we know how beneficial M-Kula is to both the employer and the employee. So how about we go to the ground to see how practical it is for both the vendor and the employee. Here's our Innovators Club.
Hi, my name is Brian Ngeve. I'm an affiliations manager at Apptivate Africa Limited. My experience as an employee is that M-Kula is one of the best apps ever made, to be frank. It's a meal benefit given to you in kind by an employer. It's not cut from your salary. You don't have to use cash whenever you're going out there or you're working in the field. So I'd say it's been a very fabulous experience so far.
My name is Samir Abdulkadir, the owner of Ajida Delicacies. I'm a business person, and M-Kula is a very good product actually for me as a business owner. It helps me in terms of saving because the money that I receive doesn't go into my daily expenses. It goes to my savings account. So for me, I think the product is quite good. Generally, just not for me as a business owner, but I think also for other partners in terms of the employer and the employee.
So Find Outlets is used to search for outlets near my vicinity. They can be in Westlands or Kasarani or town, so it will show me all the outlets that accept M-Kula wherever I am or wherever I'm working from at that time. So you can just click on one, it will show you Hot Meals Kitchen. This is speaking industry area where I was yesterday. So normally to refresh, then you can take it back to Westlands. Okay? This one is for pay merchant. This is what I use to clear my bill with the vendor, the account number, which is seen on the wall. So I just type in the account number, which I've already done. Click next, enter the amount that I've ordered for. So submit to confirm for me the number, the name of the kibanda. Then I'll put my secret PIN and submit. Simple as that. The next place that we have is buy M-Kula. This you can use to buy for customers who are not on M-Kula. You can decide to gift a friend or a mother, a father, it can be a sibling who does not normally use M-Kula. You can buy M-Kula for them. Just use it, uses the M-Pesa code. Say for others, for contacts, so you select the person. Can be anybody as you wish. Have it, say done. The amount you wish to send, say 200, done. Let's say pay. Then you will select M-Pesa, you send a prompt to your M-Kula M-Pesa number. So, you send a prompt to your M-Pesa number. Yeah, there we go. So you send my M-Pesa right there. It will automatically come. Okay. Another feature. So these are the different vouchers that Apptivate Africa offers to clients. So M-Kula is the most common used by 90% of our consumers. It's used to feed purely for meal benefits. You can go to a kibanda, a hotel, a franchise and use it to have a meal on a daily basis or any time that you wish. It depends with the dynamics that you have agreed upon. M-Tuza is used to buy a meal, or you can go to a shop like City Walk or Thailand Carpet and buy an intangible good, a curtain or a shoe, as you please. For business pass, we use it for hotels to pay for accommodation and for meals as well. Or M-Kapu is for supermarket voucher. That's about it. So I can just click my transactions, I can track every day how much I spent and where I've spent. Give me the records up to a month, I can filter if I wish. Also, you can use my QR to transact, which is available there. We get notifications every time you transact, like the one I've just paid to Adija. There it goes. Yes. This you can use as a chat room in case you have an issue with customer care. And this will give me my account details. Yes, that's about it.
Some of the benefits I would say are I don't get to use my own cash. Okay, this is a benefit that my employer has given me to a certain amount which I can use at any restaurant that I choose or that accepts M-Kula, to be precise. I can go to franchises or like KFC or Java, which normally I wouldn't be able to afford with my own cash. Plus, it's just by the click of a button. It's a transaction that takes nearly 5 seconds and you're done. Doesn't work the same for all employees. All that I know, I have some colleagues in other companies who use it at a cap level, which means some are given 100 per day to spend, 250 per day to spend, 300 per day to spend. Others are given the whole amount at once in your voucher. Then you can enjoy it as you please. If you decide to finish it in a day, it's up to you. If you decide to measure it up to the end of the month, it's up to you. So it's tailored to be perfect for what the employer wants it to be. Most employers give their employees an amount which they are sure that the employees have a meal every day. The target is to ensure that your employee has a meal every day. When they wake up in the morning, they're sure that M-Kula covers them with a meal every day. So it means that it's not deducted from my salary. I get my salary intact and I get my M-Kula intact. It's perfect. Yes, I used to wake up at 6, now I wake up at 5 because I know I have a meal every day.
That has been the Innovators Club. Clearly, as you can see, an innovation doesn't have to be rocket science. It's the simple things. What idea do you have that could solve a problem in the world? Well, go for it and get going. That surely brings an end to today's conversation. But before we go, you remember the question that we asked. What's your take on the reselling of electronic goods by scalpers through use of automated bots? Talk to us. Tell us, do you think this is market manipulation or is it fair business? Talk to us at KBC Channel 1 using the hashtag TakeOnTech. You can also talk to me at Stephanie_Ayieta. That is on Instagram, and Stephanie Ayieta across all other social media platforms. We have been shooting on location at Apptivate Africa. Let's meet next week. Same time, same place. Until then, adios.